What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Celtics Daily Channel with me, Mike Zakarian. We're just a couple of weeks away from NBA action. We are oh so close. We're getting a lot of news, a lot of information here over the last couple of days. We had a press conference with Bill Chisholm and Brad Stevens and Wick Grossbeck, the United Front, which we didn't really learn too much information, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. We got a bunch of other stuff to get into, but do me a favor. If it is your first time hanging out with us, hit that subscribe button. And as I've mentioned the last couple of shows, we will be giving away Boston Celtics tickets once we hit 3K subs. So let's, get the likes going, get the hypes going, hit the subscribe button, do all those things. And of course, we end all of our shows with comments from the chat. So get involved in the chat, whether it's during the live or the premiere of the video or after. Whenever you check it out, get involved in the chat. Speaking of getting involved, so we talked about Walker Kessler yesterday, how they're not planning on extending him before he hits the summer, which means he'll either be a restricted free agent, which we saw how that played out this past season with Josh Giddey, Quentin Grimes, Jonathan Kuminga, and Cam Thomas. However, obviously, teams are going to have a little bit more spending money, it looks like, next season than compared to this season. But this also opens up some trade talks, because if you're not going to extend somebody like Walker Kessler, who's on a rookie deal, we went over his numbers yesterday, basically averages a double-double, a couple of blocks a game, pretty good pick and roll, rim running, defending, big man, right? And young, right? Has room to grow. One of the difficult aspects of evaluating Walker Kessler was just how bad Utah was and how bad on purpose they were. So he wasn't getting like full run. Now, he did play 30-plus minutes a game last year, so that was the best chance that we got to see him play. It's just that, Utah wasn't putting out their best product. How is he going to play in a winning environment? Anyways, we get some more information yesterday, and Danny Ainge just be Danny Aingeing, all right? Let me tell you what Danny was looking for. The Utah Jazz, apparently they were in some talks with the Lakers, and excuse me, I'm going to cough here for a second. We're in talks with the Lakers about trading Walker Kessler. This is what the asking price was for Danny. Austin Reeves and multiple first-round picks. I mean, so you got to trade Austin Reeves. Now, granted, one of the reasons this makes a little bit more sense is Austin Reeves is about to get extended too, so he's about to get paid. So if Utah's going to do this, they're also going to have to agree to a contract. But like, one of the challenging aspects of trading for Walker Kessler right now is knowing that you have to extend him. So to have to give up like an A-list, not A-list, but like a star-ish, almost star, borderline all-star caliber player, and multiple first-round picks for someone we haven't really seen. Walker Kessler has potential, but we haven't seen him do it in a winning environment yet. So, like, how is it going to translate if he gets to another team? Now, I will say, as we get closer to the trade deadline, there could be, the asking price could come down, because we start getting to the point where Utah's like, well, what? We're just going to let Walker Kessler walk? We're just going to Walker Kessler walk? Come on, man. It writes itself. We're just going to let him walk, and maybe the asking price comes down. They want to make sure they get some assets. It's a little bit tricky because he's not going to be an unrestricted free agent this summer. If he was going to be an unrestricted free agent, you definitely see the price come down, because Utah would be panicking a little bit. They want to make sure they get at least a little something for him in the trade deal, right? Or before he leaves. But because he's a restricted free agent, technically they could hold on to him for one more summer. And it doesn't sound like they're willing to pay him a big money. They still have Lowry Markin in there. They just signed Mo Bamba. They also have Kyle Filipowski, the old Dookie. So I don't know. I really do think Walker Kessler does make a ton of sense in Boston. Again, it's just, that's the type of big that works. And I don't think you'd have to pay him too much. You definitely have to pay him. He's looking for his payday, his first contract outside of his rookie deal. But I really like his game. But I just don't know if that is going to be the asking price. You might have to just wait until he hits the market and then decide if you want to pay him. And again, who knows, though? This is all speculative before the season starts. And Utah has made a point of saying, since Austin Ainge, Danny's kid, arrived in Utah, that they're no longer going to do the tanking. And as I pointed out yesterday, last year, Utah got fined $100,000 basically for just not playing their guys, lying about injuries. The NBA was kind of like, hey, man, you need to play your guys. And so maybe Walker Kessler goes out there start of the season and maybe he's like 16 and 14, right? 16 points, 14 boards a game, something like that. Maybe he evolves a little bit and then the trade value goes up. And I don't know. And then, or the opposite could happen. He gets dinged up, or he doesn't put up numbers, and then all of a sudden the trade value goes down a little bit. It's really, really hard to tell at this point. It is Danny Ainge, though, wheeling and dealing. I don't know. Maybe Danny, help your boys out, man. Come on. Remember what Kevin McHale did for us way back when? Now it's your turn. Time to return the favor. Time to return the favor. I'd give up some picks for Walker Kessler Ranger. I am a Kessler fan. And I just want to answer to that 5. And again, excuse me, guys, this is like 10 days now of battling this cold. What's going on? Nehemiah's Keita might go out there and just ball out this year, and then we can all just shut up about it, If Keita goes out there and he's just like, hey, I'm a starting center now. You don't worry about it. Plug a different hole. Worry about a different problem, Because I got the answer. And that could be the case. That's why we just need some basketball. We're talking about this for 3 months now, being like, who's got to be the center? And it's just like, we need hoops, man. We need hoops. Speaking of hoops, the Jaylen Brown slander has gone too far. The internet was losing their mind this week, okay? And I don't know if you guys have, and I hope you haven't seen this, because maybe it means you're not criminally online as I am. But they pointed out, excuse me, in a tiered starting small forward, all right? Now I'm going to read off some of these tiers. And I honestly thought they got a lot of this right, and then there was just a lot of vitriol about Jaylen Brown. And I just think the slander has gone too far. So here we go. Here was the S tier, the top tier of starting small forwards. Jaylen Brown, Jalen Williams, Kawhi Leonard. The next tier, Amen Thompson, Franz Wagner, OG Anunoby. One more down, you got Michael Porter Jr., Brandon Ingram, Asar Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Cam Johnson, Jaden McDaniels, Denny Avdia, DeMar DeRozan, Trey Murphy III. Then one more level down, Nesmith, Risa Shea, Bilal Coulibaly, I don't know who that is. Ace Bailey, maybe. Rui Hashimura, Cooper Flagg, Jalen Wells, Stephon Castle. They're calling Stephon Castle small forward. Okay, and then so on and so on. But that's kind of the list. Now, this information came out. This list came out. And the Jaylen Brown slander was out of control. And here we go. The comment that I want to point out was Jaylen Brown S tier? No way you guys actually watch this dude play. He's been a negative defender since his mid-20s, and his shooting efficiency was worse than Dalen Terry last year. Now, I think we can all agree, maybe Jaylen Brown didn't have his most efficient year last year. Since his mid-20s, I mean, the dude is what, 28? What is your mid-20s? Like, so since last year what does that mean? And let's just go over some Jaylen Brown stats. So yeah, okay, he was bad. He had a bad year last year. That's what everybody's saying. He averaged 22 points, 5 boards, and almost 5 assists a game, and over a steal per game. He was playing 34 minutes a game. He shot 46% from the field, 32% from 3. That was a down year from that. Still made an all-star team. The year before, averaged 23, 5, and 3. The year before that, 26, 6, and 3. The year before that, 20. Jaylen Brown has averaged 20 points a game for his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. He is a Finals MVP. He's an Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And I guess what pisses me off is who in that list are you taking over him? Like, what conversation do you want to have? You're taking OG. You want to have a conversation about OG Anunoby? Fine. One of the most inconsistent offensive players in recent history. Let's pull up some Anunoby numbers here. And listen, Anunoby absolutely balled out a couple of times during this postseason. I think he's a really solid defender. He averaged 18 and 4 last year. And you know what? That's the most he's ever averaged in his career. Okay? He's made 0 all-star teams, and he's made 1 all-defensive team. 1. All right? So that's OG Anunoby. Franz Wagner. You want to talk about Franz Wagner? Franz went on an insane run last year. He was incredible before he had an oblique injury, right? But he was doing that without Paolo. He averaged 24 points per game. This is his first year averaging over 20. I'm not even anti-Franz, but Franz is not on the Jaylen Brown level. Maybe if you want to project a couple of years from now, sure, I'll have a conversation. But right now, Jaylen Brown is a top 20 player. I think he came out 19th in the Ringer's Top 100 or ESPN's Top 100. I forget what it was. But, I mean, it's not close. It's not close. Amen Thompson, listen, I'm a huge Amen Thompson fan. I think, from the fantasy perspective, he's going to be insane this year. Can we see it first? Can we see him develop any sort of jump shot outside of the foul line? Can we see him play a full year? I'm sorry, I'm not there yet. And then people were like, "Well, Cooper Flagg, can he put on the uniform first? Can he?" And I like Cooper. I think Cooper Flagg's going to be awesome. And again, if you want to project a few years from now, hey, who knows? Maybe Cooper Flagg does. Maybe he is a better player in year 3 of Cooper Flagg. But this year you're taking him over him? Come on, what are we doing? Andrew Wiggins, Michael Porter Jr. can't put the pipe down. Unbelievable. It's just the Jaylen Brown slander is out of control. And like, I think everybody freaks out. Everybody freaks out because of that one video drill that he was doing where he was dribbling aggressively with his left hand, which is a drill, by the way. It's a power dribble, like a drill that you're supposed to run that works on your ball handling stuff. Nobody dribbles like that in real life. It's a freaking drill. And everybody loses their mind. Oh, he can't go left. He can't. You can make the argument like, yeah, he's overpaid. We've had this conversation so many times. The second star on every team is overpaid. But this is the NBA. And if overpaid for what? You're worried about Bill Chisholm's pocket? Which, by the way, let's talk about Bill Chisholm for a second. Billy Boy, Brad, Wick Grosbeck, they came together. Lots of good reporting by CNLS Media and The Athletic yesterday talking about that conversation. I don't think there was anything really new that came from it. It was mostly just saying like, hey, we're a united front. We're excited to go. Wick Grosbeck basically was like, hey, whether we sold the team or not, we were going to have to make these deals regardless, talking about cutting costs and how important it was to get under the second apron now so that they wouldn't be penalized years to come because they have the repeater tax, right? If you keep getting hit in the second apron, you're going to get smoked with it later on. So that was part of the reason. Excuse me. But he said he made it clear he'd like to be part of. Bill also said he'd made it clear he wanted to bring a WNBA team there. He's excited about that. Wick said that he and Bill Chisholm spent time with Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Pritchard, Hauser, and Luka Garza today. Vibes are very positive. So I don't know. I mean, you're not going to get anything new. It's not like the owners are going to come out and like, take you a peek behind the curtain. It's very like shaking hands, kissing babies, we're running for office type thing. But good to see them all together because I kind of thought Grosbeck was eventually going to get the Mark Cuban treatment. He'll soon be snipped out of the conversation. But anyways, JB slander's got to stop. All right, this is what we need to do as Celtics Nation. Whether we are top 4 seed this year or like a 9 seed or whatever, I want good vibes. I want us rallying around JB. Vibes are good. Let's just keep it that way. Vibes not good in Philadelphia. Mr. TikTok, Jared McCain. We were just talking about the 76ers, man, and how, like, Skinny and Bede, his podcast, Paul George, is he going to be back? Maxey ascending. McCain tore his UCL, I believe it's called, which, you just say a letter next to CL. I don't know where these tendons are. It was wild for it to come right after he did a video of him lifting 2.5-pound plates. But excuse me, it sounds like he's going to have surgery and he's going to miss the majority of the season. 76ers are already dealing with this. And again, like Miami having injuries, Garland having injuries, the 76ers now the 76ers were able to draft VJ Edgecombe, should be able to slide right in. McCain getting hurt is very different than Embiid getting hurt, right? But every time we're just like, oh, the Celtics are going to be a 9 seed, you see a team in front of them get dinged up. So it's something to monitor as we start the season. How is Philly going to handle the injury stuff? How are they going to load manage Embiid? But it does put the Celtics in, again, another advantageous situation to maybe overperform. Sucks for McCain, though. He was off to such a really good start last year. I think he was a sneaky 6th man of the year bet for this season. He was off to a great start. He got hurt, then missed most of last season. And then to finally get healthy, get ready for hoop, for it to happen again. I hate when you see injuries compound like that for young guys who haven't like got their footing yet. Because I am a McCain fan, even though he's a TikTok king. Let's wrap this up with your comments from yesterday. I know we get a quick one today, but it sounds like I need to suck on an inhaler. You know what I'm saying? There it is. Cough on cue. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe. As I said at the top of the video, 3K subs were giving away Celtics tickets, so get involved. Monk trade value. We talked about Malik Monk yesterday. I got a little correction. Shout out my guy Weisberg, who hit me up yesterday after he saw the video, being like, dude, come on, you got it wrong. So we had mentioned the three-way deal. The challenger, Menage. So in this deal, Celtics acquire Malik Monk, Isaac Jones. The Warriors would get Anthony Simons, and then the Kings would get Buddy Hield and Jonathan Kuminga. Now, I mentioned the Celtics were going to save $8 million. I was wrong there. I was doing some math. Celtics are actually going to save the full $27 million. The reason being is because they have that trade exception. So, that would make that a little bit of a spicier deal for the Celtics. Like, you're still getting Monk, who you'll have under contract for a little bit, while simultaneously saving $20+ million that gets you under the first apron and the tax. That kind of solves a lot of problems. If I'm being honest, I don't think this is going to happen. Even though there's momentum building for this Kings-Warriors trade, I don't think we're going to see the Celtics get involved. But if there is a third team, the Celtics do make sense. They haven't been like super committal with what they've been saying around Anthony Simons, so It could happen. It could happen. Something to keep in mind. But let's get into some of your comments from yesterday. We got Ronaldo, Ronlau, 1908, says Malik Monk may just have higher trade value than Simons. So if the Celtics can get a first and a couple of seconds and another set of first and second rounders for Monk afterwards, Celtics better do it. Even if the Celtics could just get a couple of seconds, if they could get a player on a rookie scale contract, say a Walker Kessler or Danny Wolf and Igor Demon along with it, that would be course of action. Excuse me. So a couple of things here. You're not going to get a couple of firsts for Malik Monk. Clearly, I don't think that's going to happen. That's interesting. I do agree with you that if they can get guys on rookie deals, that makes sense. Walker Kessler, as we mentioned earlier, his contract is expiring this year, so you're not going to get him on a rookie deal. That's expiring. And you mentioned Danny Wolf and Igor Demon. Demon, who I believe is plantar fasciitis, is battling that. I don't see the Nets trading either one of their rookies right now. The Nets are in this weird situation, right, where they control their first-round pick this season, but the next season, it's either Houston owns it or it's a pick swap or something like that, right? So this is their last year to tank. They've got Cam Thomas, Michael Porter Jr., Nick Claxton, and then like 35 rookies. So I don't see them moving off of their rookies this season. That is something to monitor moving forward, though, because you can only play like so many young guys at a time. So I don't know. We got Michael Rivera says, bro, I need some Celtics tickets. You know I'm your biggest supporter. All right, Michael, we'll do it. Jay Slim says, as much as I want to see what Simons can do in Boston, I understand cap position is more important, but what's the logic behind going after a ball-dominant wing when we'll have Jaylen running the show? I think that's a mischaracterization of what Malik Monk is more of a guard. Malik Monk, it might be a little bit redundant with Peyton Pritchard, but one of them, Peyton Pritchard's probably going to be starting. Malik Monk, I think, in an ideal situation, you think about him on the Sacramento Kings a couple of years ago when they went on that playoff run, he's like an elite six-man of the year. I think he actually would have won six-man of the year, I think it was 2 seasons ago, but then he got hurt down the stretch and didn't qualify for it. But Monk is like off the bench, can facilitate a little bit, but it's just kind of instant offense. Good change of pace guard. I wouldn't characterize him as like Jaylen Brown-esque. He's not a wing. He's definitely not a wing. So I see what you're saying, but I think that's a mischaracterization of Malik Monk. James says the Kings aren't taking Buddy back. You don't know Sacramento. Either do more research or stay in your lane. Okay, James, listen, man, if you think you understand the Sacramento Kings, they saw what the Chicago Bulls were doing, a perennial 10 seed in the Eastern Conference, and they were like, what if we got those guys? They went and got Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Okay? All right? They turned Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox into DeRozan, into Zach LaVine. They've got no backup big, I don't think, at this point. They've got, who else do they have? Keegan Murray. They're already trying to trade Devin Carter, who's barely played for them. So why don't you stay in your light the beam lane, bro? Because if you think you understand what Sacramento is doing, Sacramento doesn't understand what Sacramento's doing. So thank you for the comments, but James, come on, James. BetterHelp.com. All right, last but not least, William Coley says, whoever the fuck said the Warriors were trying to get rid of Kuminga? Bro, have you been living under a rock, man? That's like literally the entire conversation this entire offseason. Steve Kerr doesn't want Kuminga there. Mike Dunleavy doesn't want Kuminga there. Kuminga doesn't want Kuminga there. Steph and Draymond don't want Kuminga there. His agent doesn't want Kuminga there. The only person that wants Kuminga there is Joe Lacob. What are you talking about? I feel like we need another nice comment here to end on a positive note, but I got to tell you, we went through all the comments. So that's going to do it today. Listen, it's Friday. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope we come back on Monday refreshed. I hope I'm not coughing throughout the video. And then we're going to have some sweet, sweet Celtics content for you. Hit the subscribe on the way out. Thanks for hanging out. We outski.